So this is automatically on.
See the Clydesdale.
I think this is like the Hunger Games up here though with the slides. Like I'm a little scared that if I go over 15 seconds, okay, I'll get right into it. I only have 5 minutes. So a lot of people ask me how do I get started. I had a friend that looked a lot like this, and she liked to procrastinate studying. I like to procrastinate studying, but I looked like that. And I can guarantee you, she got me into it, but the purple spandex and the cotton shirt have never been in style for running, so that was a bad start. But they got me to train for Chicago in 2001, and we did 10-1s, early morning runs. We were all ready to go, and this happened. It was 3 weeks before the marathon, so of course my friends were like, we're not flying, it's crazy. So despite learning about chafage and duct tape and blisters, instead of that beautiful city of Chicago and that great flat route, we ended up a little closer to home in Kentville, Nova Scotia. So that was my first marathon. After that, I had an opportunity to go to Belgium to do the Joints in Motion Marathon. My mother had rheumatoid arthritis, and her father was buried in Belgium, so it was a natural fit for me to go there and run. Unfortunately, my mother did pass away before that event. But when we went there, we ended up meeting up with a guy by the name of John Steenberger. As you see in this picture, he's dressed in a 1945 band uniform. He was a VIP escorted by the Belgian military, and he took us to the graveyard with his bagpipes and played Amazing Grace at the gravesite. It's quite the experience. The day of the marathon, I was running for my mom, that's what's on my legs, and I met up with a 62-year-old, the exact same age as my mother, who ran the entire marathon with me except for the last 2K, even though he'd only trained for the half, because he wanted to support me. The next event in my life was the death of my nephew, Brent Kelly. He was 12 years old, and of course, you had that feeling, I've got to do something, I want to do something. So I organized a race. You may have heard of it. It's at the Irving Nature Park. We had it the 10th year this year. And the first year my dad was there, he's like, geez, that's a great showing. There was 300 people there. He volunteered. He's like, I want to participate. I'm like, Dad, you're 68. Like, come on. Time's passed for running. He's like, no, I'm going to do it. So sure enough, he shows up, first year, jeans, sweatshirt, 1 hour and 2 minutes, and he was there. But then he was hooked. So we hooked him up with the right running gear, and the next year he did it in 42 minutes. So since then, he's been hooked on running. He's been doing 10Ks, half marathons. He's beaten me there in one of those races you can clearly see. We've been all over New Brunswick, but we haven't quite cured him of the jeans. He went running with John Stanton on Harbor Passage, still wearing jeans. At the age of 68, he decided to do his very first marathon. He went to Fredericton, and he happened to qualify for Boston on his very first try, which was great, except I'd never run fast enough to qualify for Boston, and I really wanted to go with him. So with a lot of help from Daryl Steeves, I worked my buns off. That's a little picture of me in Portland. And despite some injuries that year, thank God I made it. So Dad and I got to go to Boston together in 2009. And we ran together, and Dad's really hard to run with because he runs really fast, and then he runs slow, and then he runs fast and slow. Hard to train with, hard to run with. So we bickered for about 21 miles of that race. And then, of course, you're tired, so we didn't bicker after that. We did 2010 and 2011 as well, but we ran our own races. But in 2012, it was really, really hot. You might remember, it was like 28 to 31 degrees at the start line. So we decided we're gonna run together again, we'll take our time, we'll just have fun. And that little thing in the middle picture, that's my mom, the little star, anyway. So just run fun events for marathons. I go to Disney almost every year. I get to dress up as a princess. There's lots of fun events to run with groups. You laugh at my princess? But there's lots of local events too, like Marathon by the Sea. And overcome obstacles. So if your cat jumps on you, just consider him a training obstacle. And don't freak out if your husband runs over you the week before the Boston Marathon, which he did, true story. It'll heal, don't take yourself too seriously. And run in all kinds of weather. So that's me in a garbage bag, running in the rain. That's the year of the heat in Boston. I got burnt to a snot. Yes, I had sunscreen on, it melted off. Run in a hurricane, that's Hurricane Olga. And of course, don't let snow stop you. Run in the snow, it's all fun. And for me, it's all about the community of the sport. So we've gone to Bermuda, I've been to Ireland to run marathons, and it's all about having fun. But the number one thing, and the focus of my talk, the number one thing for me about running is the beer. So whether you're in a hot tub enjoying it or in an ice bath, there's nothing like a Coors Light with the Blue Mountains on it to have after you're done running. So I thank you, but just one more thing on my dad, because I do like to talk about my dad. He ran a PB at the age of 74 in Fredericton last year, and that qualified him for the Boston Marathon, and he was actually top 10 seeded in his age group, so he just ran again in April. Wow. So I know we don't have time for questions, but if anyone has any questions for me at the end, and that shirt says, my dad's faster than your dad.